So this types of drama is actually insane. And I'm actually a little late on this drama, I'm not gonna lie, but they just kept uploading videos. I was thinking, oh, they might upload one the next day, so let me just wait until it's actually done. But for those that have no idea what I'm talking about this whole drama between Eclipse, Seiji4, and Ozq. And let me explain how this drama went from them just talking about the problems in Type Soul to them calling each other Diddy4 and them making back-to-back diss tracks on each other. Don't even ask me how it always gets to diss tracks with Roblox drama. It always somehow ends up at diss tracks and then the drama ends, and it looks like that happened again. But how did this drama start? Well, it started by Eclipse when he uploaded a video called "My Viewers Forced Me to Play Type Soul ... It sucked." And obviously in this video he played Type Soul and he didn't like it. But what actually started the drama? Well, he kind of put a twist on his review. I don't know if he does this for every single review, but he definitely did it in this one. And basically he decided he's not going to use any outside sources. No Trello, no YouTube, no TikTok, no Hub, nothing. And if you have played Type Soul, you know playing with no type of guide is damn near like shooting yourself in the head when you started up the game. Like, not only does it not tell you anything when you start the game, it doesn't tell you about any of the requirements you need, doesn't tell you where to check your requirements, it doesn't even tell you some requirements at all sometimes for like Bonkai and whatnot. But that doesn't even matter because he never even gets there. In this video, the closest thing he plays to the video game was this Dance Dance Revolution machine that's on the Type Soul map. And from my understanding, his logic is, well, if they don't tell me how to play the game, that's bad game design, so I'm just not gonna play it because that's the dev's fault. And this is kind of where the real beef started, because Ozq did not take kindly to finding this information out. So he basically uploaded a video saying Eclipse didn't even play the game, he shouldn't have the right to say it's bad, you literally didn't even play it. And then Ozq calls Eclipse lazy for not trying to use YouTube or Trello or any type of out of source Roblox during his review of the game. And by the way, Ozq also says he agrees Type Soul is a bad game, but he says he actually went through the time to play the game before he called it bad. And to an extent, I can see both sides in this whole argument they had here. Like, especially if Eclipse normally does his review with no outside information at all. If that's like a policy he has, I don't know why he would make an exception for Type Soul. But I do think his video on Type Soul would have been a lot better if he did just continue to play with a Trello or a YouTube video and basically said, well, you have to use a Trello or a YouTube video for this game, and then basically still complained about it being bad game design, but continuing to play the game in the only way you can. Now, I'm pretty sure his whole logic is, well, what did they show me to get me to actually want to keep playing the game? And he's right, they didn't really show him anything good. But I guess my perspective on it would be like, as a YouTuber myself, I would continue to play the game so I could see the other problems and things that are good and could be changed, so I could also talk about those other problems instead of just one singular problem with the game. Now, if I'm being completely realistic, this whole situation seems like Eclipse just wanted an easier video. He didn't want to go do all that, and honestly, that's fine in my opinion. That's his choice, it's his YouTube channel. Like, damn, sometimes I want an easier video too, but I do think it is a little bit of a stretch to say the whole game sucks just because the start of the game sucks. And that's not even me trying to defend Type Soul, but I just do believe his video and opinion on the game would be better and more accurate if he did put more hours into it, or just go further than like the very start of the game because he didn't use any outside sources. But regardless, then Eclipse actually reacted to Ozq's video on his video. And I'm not going to go over everything he says in this video because this video is 13 minutes long and he says a lot in that video. But one of the things he said is like, well, it's equally the dev's fault as it is mine for being too lazy to look up the Trello. They were too lazy to put the stuff in the Trello in the game. And then he goes on to say even more, and matter of fact, let me just show you the clip for that.
Second, that you have to go outside of the game, like you have to, not that it's an option, you have to, in order to play it efficiently, your game has failed. Like, it's over. You're not really playing the game at that point, you're playing Google. Too lazy to use the Trello is not an excuse for developers to be too lazy to put any sort of new player onboarding onto their game.
And he's definitely 100% correct where he says it is bad game design if the game is literally unplayable without finding a YouTube video or going to the Trello. But I think where the problem is for me personally is where he's saying like the whole game has failed or the game is unplayable. I don't even know if he said the game is unplayable, so let me not put words in his mouth because I'm not 100% sure he said that. But what I'm basically trying to say is, in my personal opinion, one bad thing about a game does not make the entire game bad. So to say the entire game is bad because there was one bad thing at the start, I don't personally agree with that. Now, I don't know if Ozq said this, but I think somebody told him that it actually gets worse than the start of the game, which is just not true. I don't know who told him that, but that is false information in my opinion, at least. I feel like Type Soul is way better towards the end than at the start. Now, I don't know him enough to say if he would like the game or not, but I definitely think his opinion on the game would be a bit different if he actually got to play more with the combat and see how that feels, but he never even got to that point. And I understand the game doesn't tell him how to get to that point, which is, like I said, bad game design, and I agree with him 100%, but I do think he should have gone to a Trello or a YouTube video just so he could speak better on the game and understand more about the game, but that's just my personal opinion. And I'm not gonna lie, they made multiple other videos kind of going in circles, so I'm not even gonna go over that because they pretty much just talked in circles. But this drama got even more interesting when Seiji4, my goat, reacted to it. No glaze though, but Seiji4 did agree with a lot of the things that Eclipse said, and he was saying that Eclipse is making a lot of sense. And then Ozaki makes a video basically saying, how can you agree with his point when you have your own CC game that has the same problems as Type Soul? And I haven't played his CC game, but from my understanding, it's basically like it doesn't tell you how to actually play the game, and you need to use the Discord or outside sources just like Type Soul. And then Seiji4 said, well, you can't even really compare that game to an actual game because damn, that game was a cash grab. It got no effort put into it. He said they didn't even make the game, and just because the game does have a bad part doesn't make the game overall unplayable. Or my fault, I don't think he said unplayable. I think he said just because the game has a bad thing doesn't make the game overall bad, and I think Ozaki was also saying this, so I think there's just some miscommunication going on here, but that didn't stop him from making 4 diss tracks. But let me also play the clip of something else Seiji4 said because I think it is a good point.
If you're not able to grab somebody's attention at the start, or if they're at the start of the game it's confusing or too hard, people will leave the game. I 100% believe that, and this is the reason why games like Souls RNG and Battlegrounds do so well, because they're super easy to get into and they're not difficult to understand. But Sage, Type Soul has 50k players. Yeah, because it never even got close to that on release. That's for one. 2, TikTok has done Type Soul a whole bunch of favors. It's essentially done the job for the developers, considering the fact that they show crazy abilities and crazy clips on Type Soul. So when you're scrolling through TikTok and you see a clip on Type Soul, you're wondering like, whoa, this game looks crazy. That's the call to action to play the game. That's hooking a player in to give the game a shot, not them loading into Type Soul as a fishbone and looking clueless running around the map. Bro.
Now the first thing I want to mention is he also agrees the game is a lot better at the end. You see cool stuff towards end game. That's not no fishbone early game stuff, so I don't know who told Eclipse that it's good at the start or it's better at the start than it is at the end, because I promise you that's false. But I also want to mention that when Type Soul initially released, which I think he also mentioned in that clip, the game was a lot less popular, and the reason it got a lot more popular on the second release was because they made the game a lot more beginner friendly and easier to get into. They used to have a lot of stupid systems, like you had to wait a certain amount of time just to rank up, and when you remove these stupid systems that have no purpose, it makes the game easier, more enjoyable, and you notice more people play the game. And I think if you did add more beginner friendly stuff at the start of the game, you would see this happen again. Maybe not as significant as it happened before. Like, I don't think you would see a super noticeable jump in players, but if you did make the game more beginner friendly, I promise you it wouldn't hurt the game. Now the whole thing you said about TikTok clips and whatnot, I don't completely agree with that, because all the other games also have the same benefit of those social media platforms like TikTok clips and whatnot. Now, to make the assumption that Type Soul gets more of their players from TikTok than maybe some of the other games on Roblox is probably true, but I will say it is definitely harder to argue for something like this when there's no literal way to tell, and like I said, all the other games do also get players from TikTok the same way. Now we're gonna watch all 15 of the diss tracks and analyze them lyrically and really see what they're saying and the deeper meaning behind all of this. No, I'm not gonna lie, if any of y'all thought I'm actually doing that, you're tripping. I'm not gonna lie, we need to hit like 20k likes for me to even consider doing something like that. But if y'all agree with my opinions or just like watching my content, I appreciate if you hit the like or subscribe button. It does a lot for the channel, you feel me? Later.